Forts have maintenance because this isn't fun. Well, actually, there's more reasons to it, but the gist of it is that defending a province and forcing everyone to fight on it defensively on its own is pretty strong, as well as forcing everyone to spend a long time sieging it down. As such, maintaining this privilege of having forts not only costs an upfront amount to build the fort, but also a monthly upkeep. Naturally, as EU4 got updated, money became easier to get, and furthermore, fort maintenance reduction went from a modifier that kind of appeared to a modifier that's present in quite a few places, meaning that you can kind of now run forts in every province and still turn a profit if you want to. In multiplayer, this is particularly an issue, which is why some mods for MP either prevent forts from being built that border forts, or add special modifiers that if a fort borders other fort, both of those forts' defensiveness is reduced to 0. This all exists because in an environment where money isn't an issue, the optimal way of building forts is yes, and everywhere all the time please. So I wanted to see if I made the maintenance cost of forts at a base level become 0, will this impact the AI behavior? Will they finally upgrade their forts and build more of them? But before we do, just a quick thing as always to get out of the way. A like on the video would be appreciated, and a subscription would be incredible. We are almost at 44k subs at this point, which is obscene. So let's close that last little gap and hit 44k together. With that said, enough self-shilling, let's get into the game. Right, so here we are in England. Any country would work for this. I've disabled fort maintenance for everyone, and if we take a look at the economy, hey, it's looking pretty good. Although the AI loves to not root out corruption for some reason. Mainly because, of course, our fort maintenance is 0, so we're making a lot more money than we should be. Doesn't matter if you mothball or maintain all forts, all as well. Forts are still being paid for free. That's all fine. We can double check. Let's pop in on France. Yep, no fort maintenance. All is good, all is well. France clearly has forts going for it. So yeah, everything is set up. There have been no other changes, so we'll be able to see what's going on there. Right, let's get ourselves into Observer and take a look around. The main thing I think it's important to mention right away is, of course, this is just going to make every country practically quite a bit richer. Smaller countries that don't have fort maintenance aren't going to notice, but especially the bigger countries are just going to scale a little bit harder because they just don't have free forts. But they should be spending that money on building forts. It also does mean that smaller countries will be able to afford forts, meaning that they're going to be a bit more painful to invade. Anyway, that's enough talking. Let's put the game speed up, probably something like speed 4. And just let it run, see if anything too unusual happens right off the bat. We'll keep an eye specifically on the fort level map mode to see if anything super unusual happens so we can spot right away. So far, not particularly. Forts about where you'd expect them to be, obviously loads in Japan. But that's capital forts, I would believe, no? No, that is capital forts, okay. I was about to say that they don't have that many forts everywhere, but no, that's just capital forts, okay. I'll pop in and see you in a second if anything weird happens. Well, here we are in 1450, just a quick check into the game, see what's happening, and honestly, I'm not sure if the AI is particularly noticed. Financially, they've noticed, namely that countries like France, of course, are not burning money on forts, but they haven't built anything specifically or gone out of their way to abuse the fact that forts are free, so that's something to bear in mind. AI is not necessarily hard-coded to love to build forts as is, but they certainly can afford to pop down a lot more forts than they have. And I mean, they haven't built anything, and I think that's the main takeaway here. If you just look through most of the world here, no one's really built any forts compared to a lot of the starting ones. Like, if any country can afford to shove forts everywhere, and probably should, due to the devastation, is going to be Ming, and they just haven't really done that. I believe they start with the one in Nanjing. Potentially, I'm not too aware of the Ming fort geography, I'll be honest. But yeah, no, nothing too unusual in that regard in terms of the Ming fort behavior or anything, and they can definitely be the ones that are the most affordable when it comes to forts. But no, haven't really done anything with that. I don't think the AI is particularly noticed, but I think we're going to have to give it a bit more time before we start to see any differences in behavior, if any. So I'm going to run this until 1500 and see what happens. So here we are back in the 1500s, as promised. The world's certainly a bit more unusual, but if we take a look at fort level, no, I don't think there's been excessively more forts being built. Nothing extra throughout England or anything. They kept the Wales fort, they kept the Northumberland fort. There's the Leinster fort, which I don't think necessarily exists. I think there's only a fort here. So there is kind of one new fort, but that's about it. Nothing too special to compensate the fact that, you know, everyone's getting free forts. The map played out a bit weird compared to normal, but nothing too unusual that I can't really put down to forts. Like, for example, England actually went into the Netherlands, and Pomerania's going for a cheeky Prussia on the down low, you know, just just sneaking in the provinces it needs for Prussia without telling anyone. Although Bohemia's taken hold of both Berlin and also snaked really weirdly into Hungary. I'm gonna stop asking questions about what Bohemia's up to because Bohemia has some demons it's fighting with these kind of borders. Speaking of things that are apparently being held back, the Pope. That's what's holding the Pope back from great success and territorial dominance over the Italy area fort maintenance. That's what's been holding the Pope back. If you get rid of fort maintenance, the Pope does really well for some reason. Yeah, no, obviously not. And I mean, countries like Burgundy are also not doing too badly. In this case, I guess it's more of Burgundy allying everyone under the sun. And hey, even Venice is getting a bit of a decent game going. Got a bit of decent expansion into the Hungary area, but I think it's more just Hungary dying, to be honest. So nothing too unusual, to be honest, in terms of the world, and nothing there with fort level. Kind of already saw this happening in the case of Ming, because Ming can certainly afford forts everywhere, and they just were not building them everywhere like they should be. So yeah, the fact that Ming wasn't partaking in more forts did not fill me with a lot of confidence that we're going to see forts being built everywhere all the time. So that's nice to see. Not to say that the world hasn't been weird. Chagatai is popping off, and hey, Bukhara's here, which is certainly more of an unusual tag, but you know, it's there. Timmy's dead. Mamluks have survived and thrived, and Ethiopia is even more consolidated. So it's certainly a bit of a weird world all around. There's nothing to say there in that regard. But in terms of fort levels, no. Everything's looking very, very normal all around. I reckon we may as well run this into the 1550s just to see if maybe the AI was really short on money or something, although I'll doubt it. If we take a look into England here, then, I mean, they can afford to build. Why do they have a cost? Come on, England. You just hate Holland that much. Okay. But yeah, no, I mean, they absolutely can just afford to pop down a bunch more forts and stuff. They're just choosing not to, for lack of a better word, which, fair enough. I mean, Ottomans especially, yeah, they can be spamming down these forts, but they're not doing that, and they should be. So I'm going to run this into 1550, see if the AI wakes up, see if they realize, oh right, forts are free, we should probably build them, or not. Basically, I don't think they will, it doesn't look like it, but maybe something ticks, maybe when the next fort level becomes unlocked, maybe they'll recognize something. I doubt it, but you know, it's worth checking, right? Just in case. Well, here we are back in 1550, and to be absolutely clear, no, I don't think the world has noticed. No significant forts have been built. There's been a couple that just didn't get deleted. I think the Anjou one tends to get deleted, for example. But no, basically nothing special in terms of fort construction anywhere, especially by tags like the Ottomans, which in their current state can absolutely afford it. If anything, the world's been normalized. Bohemia's been knocked down a peg. The Pope's just kind of still existing, sure, but Venice has been reduced significantly, and Ferrara's left Ferrara and now lives in here in central Italy. I hope they're having a great time. Prussia won't be happening as Brandenburg is kind of back, but Danzig and Königsberg are now owned by Russia, so I guess Russia's going for the Closet Prussia build. But indeed, forts may be free, but the AI certainly hasn't noticed. Or if they have noticed, they've done absolutely nothing with that information. The forts could have even saved the Ming. Look at the lack of forts in the area, just look at the lack of forts and look at the lack of Ming. Hey though, historical Japan. And for the three people that wondered, no, Burgundy's list of alliances was not enough to keep them alive. They did eventually get conquered by the French. At least England still has their little bit of the Netherlands. But with that said, that is unfortunately all I have time for today. Thank you very much for watching, with a special thank you to my channel members, especially Ark, Soda, Solemn, W Haste, Sebastian Haller, Chundok 2.0, Nick Huss, Dark Fortuna, Big Salad, Leb Josh, Gay Fug, Krokoknos, Golden Arrows, Nanhatan, The Awesome Rabbit, Best Pro Gaming, Grand Admiral Flavian, Kono, and Andrea Zalberg.